Panther people, what up? We got breaking news. The Panthers have made sure Derrick Brown is going nowhere. Adam Schefter just tweeting now that the Panthers defensive tackle, Pro Bowl defensive tackle, is signing a 4-year, $96 million extension that includes $63.165 million guaranteed per source. He says the deal negotiated by Brown's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, Jason Rosenhaus, Robert Bailey, Panther exec Dan Morgan, Brant Tillis, and Drew Rosenhaus confirming the deal. Derrick Brown, you can buy the 95 jersey. It is a beautiful jersey. It serves two purposes. Not only is it a great player who's going to be here for a while, not going to trade him, but it's also the year that the team was brought into existence. This could be a must cop, honestly. And so, yeah, him, A'Shawn Robinson, building up the middle of the defensive line. We are seeing a revamping of the interior defensive and offensive line for the Carolina Panthers. That is the quickest way to the quarterback for us and to protect those trying to get to Bryce. I love the deal. Let me know what you think. The people, what up? All right. Let's go all offense, baby. I think the Panthers could double dip in the second round in terms of getting offensive talent to surround around Bryce Young. Obviously, they got Deontay Johnson. They already picked him up. Adam Thielen sticking around. We see the social media footage he's putting in the work right now. He can be, a supersized slot receiver. Jonathan Mingo could be there as well. Let's give the rookie some grace. It was a crappy situation, not just for our quarterback, but for rookie wide receivers as well. And then we got Emir Smith-Marset, who I think could be a breakout player on the skill position side. But that's not going to stop me from making calls to the Houston Texans about a certain wide receiver that could be kind of out of loop right now with the Stephon Diggs pickup. Make sure you watch that video to see who I'm talking about. There's an assist there to Damian Parsons for that idea. But it's not going to stop me from trying to go potentially double dip on wide receivers, depending who's there in the NFL draft. So with that, I did a mock draft. You're not going to watch me make the picks. I already made the picks, so I'm just going to break them down. So with the 33rd overall pick, I'm picking Ladd McConkey. So Trevor Sikkema, who talked to my guy, Julian Parsons, about, second-round wide receivers who he thinks could really make a move and really make a dent with the Carolina Panthers. And he talked about, you've already heard this before, the depth at the wide receiver spot. There are guys who are like number 3, number 4 wide receivers in this draft who would be number 1 wide receivers in previous drafts. And I think Ladd McConkey could be one of those guys. I think for those who did watch him, I watched him when they took on C.J. Stroud in the college football playoff semifinal, and I just couldn't believe his name. And I thought, this is not a real person. He is a real person. Oh my God. And he was actually good. And he had some injuries hamper him this year, but he has shown that he can play in every position on the offense. He can play outside. He can play slot. He is, as they call him, an elite separator. He thinks through his routes, and you watch him run routes, and he knows exactly what he's doing. He is like a machine at that point. I don't know how he would be. Obviously, he's great out of structure as well. You've seen that in some of his plays that he's made when he kind of reverses field and it gets a touchdown there and just reading the blocks that are given to him. But the way he plans his routes out, the DB has no idea what's going on, but he knows exactly what he's doing. It's like he's playing Street Fighter. He's not button mashing. He's one of those guys that knows exactly the combinations to do the superpower move. And that's exactly what he does. And he's not a small guy. People out there, obviously because he's white, comparing him to these smaller white slot wide receivers, the Wes Welkers and companies, the Julian Edelmans. That's not his case. The guy's 6'1", plus 6'1", good weight as well for his position, and he can and he's mad quick. And I think that he is a guy who can give Bryce what he wants. If you have 2 elite separators, in Deontay Johnson and Ladd McConkey, you're always going to find somebody open for Bryce Young. And so he is my 33rd overall pick for the Carolina Panthers. Now, I traded down. I had some trades here. So I traded with the Baltimore Ravens. I was going to say Orioles. It's baseball season. So I traded down for the 44th overall pick. I traded down a bit, but then I got Baltimore's 2025 second-round pick next year. So now next year because we had no second-round pick next year because we traded out to Chicago Bears. So now we recoup that from the Baltimore or I almost said Ravens. And then with the 44th overall pick, I am picking Jalen Polk out of University of Washington. That guy, I feel like he's always made clutch plays for the Huskies. He is 6'1", about a 205-pound wide receiver. I think that I was debating between him and Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin, the burner, 176 pounds though. And then sometimes, according to the analysts, that his lack of frame kind of gets him a little bit bodied a little bit, kind of like Adonai Mitchell, but on more of a scale there. And for a guy that's that fast, he hasn't really shown up that much during the pre-draft process in terms of his numbers and not working well against him, which is probably why he was still available at the 44th overall pick. But Jalen Polk, I felt like I think he plays hard. I think he's clutch. I think he's got glue on his gloves throughout the time. And I think he can be a guy who could probably stretch the field as well. And he could be a chain mover and maybe a guy who could supersede an Adam Thielen later on in the future. So I double dipped. I went Ladd McConkey, who's the separator. I got Jalen Polk, the playmaker. And then with the 65th overall pick, I got Ben Sinnott. So apparently this Sanders cat out of Texas, again, according to draft analysts out there, I am not one of them. I am just the regurgitator here. Besides the fact that he's a large human being, the pre-draft process has not been kind to him. But guys like Ben Sinnott, who can do multiple things. He can block, he can catch the ball, he can run the ball. And Dave Canal says they want a Swiss Army knife as a tight end right there. And so him, coupled with Tommy Tremble, who I've always had faith in him because I know. I think anyone who's followed the draft at any time knows that tight ends take a while. They take a while to develop. Not everybody is going to be the cat out of Detroit. It takes time. So I'm gonna give Tommy Tremble some time. Ian Thomas still here, but Ben Sinnott could be a potential young Swiss Army knife for the Carolina Panthers. Maybe go in 12 personnel with that. So now I get into the defense. The 141st overall pick, I went Keaton Oladapo, a safety out of Oregon State. The guy's like 6'2", big body frame, could potentially fill in for Jeremy Chin, who was in the wrong position playing safety anyways. But you got a big, hard-hitting leader type in the back end of the defense, and I feel like that could work out there. I got a cornerback out of Penn State, Johnny Dixon. He's a bit undersized, 5'10", but this is not the Scott Fitterer era. And so they're not looking for height, weight, speed guys. We want to look for football players. We want to look for dogs. And then when Joey Porter Jr. Was eventually drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers, this guy was thrust into the mix and try to fill in for him. And so I think he can do a reasonable job there. Then with the 240th pick, I got Kendall Milton, a running back out of Georgia. He's that big body guy. So Chuba Hubbard, he's big dude. Like, he can definitely kick my butt. But he's not, a battering ram type running back. I feel like while he's gotten better, there are times when the first guy normally gets him down. He's been better, though. Running a little bit lower, finding the holes, initiating contact and moving forward, trying to get some yards after the tackle. Did I just make that up? And then you got Sanders, who I don't know. Maybe his ego kicks in, and then he realizes, hey, you know what? People are trolling me. Hopefully he doesn't watch socials or read socials, but maybe he can be a guy who can, be that screen running back. But what I'm saying is he and Chuba kind of do the same thing. And Raheem Blackshear, I always loved him as a punt returner. I've loved him at the way he runs, angry. He has like a little bowling ball out there. I think he'd be great still. They brought him back. But I think a Kendall Milton, a guy who's like the 6'1", 220-pound type running back, I feel like, again, just if you want dogs and they want to relentlessly run the ball, and you got these two behemoths at the guard and now center position with Austin Corbett playing center, you don't want to mess with these guys in a run game late in the fourth quarter and you're only down by 2, but you just can't get this dude. You don't want to tackle a Kendall Milton type late in the game. And so I picked him up. Everyone else beside that was an option there was like 5'10" or less. So this guy's 6'1", 200 plus, and I think you can continue building him up as well. He could be a battering ram. So I double dipped. I went all offense because it looks like the defense is being filled with veterans. But I got Ladd McConkey, Jalen Polk, double dip wide receiver in the second round. Ben Sinnott, a Swiss Army knife type tight end. Keaton Oladapo as a safety, just like a hard-hitting dude. Johnny Dixon, dog. Kendall Milton, again, dog. That's what I go for. That's what the Panthers are going to be. And I said in the previous episode, I think the over-unders for Panthers wins is 4.5 right now. If they can get to 5-6 wins, I think it's going to be over 4.5. If they can get 5 or 6 wins and then 3 or 4 of the losses are like 1 possession games, I'd be happy with that. And just show competitiveness. That's all I want. I want Bryce Young to look happy. And I feel like this draft could make him happy. Let me know what you guys think. Show me your mock drafts. You can type it in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, spread the word, hit the bell, all that stuff. I can't see the merch for whatever reason, but there's merch if you want to buy it. See you guys.